Morning. I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm in western Kentucky in Callaway County visiting my parents, and we're gonna take a walk down these country lanes and across some fields and see what's going on. So this is sort of typical of this little area. Dakota decides, of course, to take a bathroom break just as I start. They've just planted soybeans here. This had rape on it, which is better known to Americans as canola. I'm pretty sure that, not positive, but pretty sure this was for cattle feed as opposed to for human consumption for making oil, but not positive. Pretty good sized fields. It's really beautiful. It looks kind of like mustard, bright yellow. As a matter of fact, I think there's a dog walk update from this spring that has it. We're actually gonna follow a similar course. I think this spring we went down this little draw that's in the middle of this field and went into those woods. And then I have before gone all the way up here to I think that's what we're going to do, go up to the Hickory Grove Church up here. Well, I don't know. I think that's all corn in between here and there. That's kind of a sucky way to take a hike. It's through a field of corn. Corn leaves a kind of cut a little bit as you walk through them. I've got short sleeves on shirts on, and so I guess I think we might go up here to this cospa trees and cut across to the corner over there. I don't know, it looks like depends on how the rows are laid out here. So I want to walk down their rows. I don't want to walk across them. I don't guess it matters. This stuff is only about 6 inches tall. But yeah, it's humid. I have no idea what the temperature is. I'll check and see what the weather service thinks. It was only off by a degree last night between the airport here. What is it? Murray Callaway County Airport, I think. And it is definitely very humid. We did not end up having any rain. I think I got a couple of sprinkles on the drive down. The forecast changed pretty drastically. Somebody just drove right in there. It was a nice drive, pleasant drive down. And wonder what that was. Yeah. Whatever it was, it didn't make it. So I'm gonna pause this until I head across the field. Ah, good. There's a quail over there, Bob White. Actually, crow. And there was the Bob White again. Yeah, changed my mind. I'm gonna walk down. I'm gonna walk down here to the left. This was when I was growing up. A family called the Mitchells lived there. Got this huge pond, which apparently is regularly visited by bald eagle. I'm gonna walk down to that woods, go through there. Probably gonna wish I put on some off. I'll take a shower when I get back and make sure I'm not carrying any blood-sucking parasites. It's 83 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. Very humid. I'm going to say it's probably up around 80% right now. So, yeah, it's muggy, kind of hazy. Actually, not kind of hazy, very hazy. I can hear a jet up there. There's a contrail. It's perfect kind of conditions for contrails. Boy, it's really different here than Louisville. You'd have them just crisscrossing everywhere because of there's some two doves just took off because there's so much traffic over that area, and this doesn't have a whole lot here in western Kentucky. I can see one other contrail, but I mean, the way those things work is that, especially with these, as the quality of jet engines improves, there more and more and more of the exhaust that comes out of those is actually just water as they get more and more efficient. Just like your car has, modern cars have water dripping out of them, and excuse me, I mean, you couldn't kill yourself in a closed-in garage with a modern car. You run out of gas before you got enough CO in the air to do you in. It's the same thing with jet engines. They're so much more efficient than they were 20 years ago even. Plus, there's 1,000 times more flights than there were, say, 30 years ago. So when they're at high altitude and there's high enough humidity in the air up there, when those hot exhaust comes out in the minus 70 degree temperatures, it hits and the water vapor crystallizes and makes those contrails. It is not contrary to common conspiracist belief that there's anything being sprayed out of those jets. It's just silliness from people that don't want to learn and find it easier to think that they are doing something to us without ever defining what it is that they are doing, why that they are doing the thing, and how they are not doing it to themselves. It's just a bunch of... It's a way not to take responsibility for all of us burning every last bit of fossil fuels that we can get our hands on. When I was a kid, I would have been bicycling through here and probably spent, didn't spend a whole lot of time in this particular woods here. Usually tended to go on the other side of that line of trees way over there. There's a fairly good-sized creek, and on the other side of it is a very steep ridge. It's 50 feet or so tall. Used to go over to spend lots of time in the summer, actually, and the winter too, now that I think of it, playing along that creek. This looks like a horse field, as you can tell from the really crappy vegetation and lack of grass. I don't see any horses though. Boy, horses you have to have so much room for them, and it always ends up looking awful if you've got very many horses on land. I've never understood why out west it's okay to ride a horse around on trails but not a bicycle. A horse, every time a hoof comes down, it's several tons of impact pressure, whereas a bicycle, is maybe 100 pounds per square inch with the mountain bike tires. Even though it does make a nice straight track, all it's going to take is one rain to completely get rid of it. I guess maybe they're afraid that... What the hell is that? Oh, it's a dog. Alright, we're going to cut into the woods here in a second. I think I'm going to have to stop to be able to do it. It looks pretty dense between here and the inside of that woods. So we'll do it before we get to this mown part up here. And I'll try to come back once we're in. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll try to. What is this? That looks like a. Yeah, there must be a culvert under the road here. Ooh, this is wet too. Maybe I will go up to this mown part. All right, I'm just going to come back once I get in the woods. All right, we are back in the woods. It's nice and clear under here. I mean, relatively. Fairly mature woods. Somebody's rooster. Yeah, we're pretty close to that Bob White now. So, yeah, I don't think they've come in here and done anything in this woods. I think this is just being left to grow. Stuff grows pretty slowly here in western Kentucky. Very clay-rich soil, so not a lot of nutrients. These trees are a lot older than they look, I think. They're still pretty old. That's a nice tree right there. How straight that thing is. Let them get nice and tall so they don't have a lot of clear wood. Oh man, I don't want to go through this stuff. And Dakota's gone ahead of me, so, oh, there she is. Come on, let's go over here to the field. I don't feel like picking up any ticks if I can avoid it. Probably still risking. I'll have to check as soon as I get out of here. Let's see if there's any crawling up my legs. I do not like tick bites. They take forever to heal on me. I'm going to have to wade through some of this crap anyway to get out. Anyway, this is kind of typical of the woods around here. Most of it's been logged out at some point. According to some surveys of this area, this is pretty, back when the first white settlers came through here, this was pretty denuded. It was probably mostly buffalo range. Because they, one of the ways that they would do the surveys of the land was they would use what's the word I'm looking for? A visual indicator. Come on, brain. Landmark. And so occasionally it would be, the big oak tree, which was not very often. Very few mentions of of woods or cosps of trees. So this was probably mostly prairie until we started coming in and farming it. And then since all the big ruminants were run out, the prairie got replaced with woods and fields. So we are the benefactor of this. Not really sure which one. Would be kind of interesting to see huge herds of buffalo around here. I'm pretty close to land between the lakes, which is in between Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley. They have a bison herd and an elk herd. They're in a very large enclosure, and by very large I mean probably 150, 200 acres that you can, I can't remember, I think you have to pay something at the gate to go through, and you can drive a loop through it. Last time I went there, I saw elk, turkey, bison. I saw some deer in there. But the bison are just, man, those things are incredible. The size of them. I think I'll never get tired of watching videos of idiot tourists trying to pose next to one of them. It's like you just have no idea what you are, how you are taking your life into your hands. if you approach one of those damn things. I mean, they weigh the size of the amount of a semi tractor, and they could pretty easily capsize a small car if they get mad. I mean, I've seen a film of one just basically picking a Jeep up and flipping it over. And they, because of the way they're built, you don't realize how tall they are. Because I think I've got some pictures of them walking in between cars. Oh, I hate that this is like that. I guess I'll walk along here because they tend to run along the edges with them parallel to the... Well, that didn't sound good. Well, that was your whole breakfast. It's got some rape coming up from seed here. Alrighty, I'm gonna stop again. I'm not gonna do very many on this. It's not gonna be a very long loop. But I thought I would show you all Cowboy County, Kentucky. There's actually a lot of variation in the geography if you go around here, but this is all underlain with gravel underneath of it, left over from, I think, from the foredge of glaciers coming down through here. There's a name for it, scarp or something like that. And so you get a lot of like gullies and hills and whatnot, but there's not, you don't get into any rock formations till you get over to Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley, and then there's cliffs over there. But from the Kentucky Lake is from the Cumberland, or no, I think Kentucky Lake is from the Tennessee River, and Lake Barkley is from the Cumberland, I think. It's really interesting. My mom's family is from very close to the headwaters of the Cumberland River, and Mom and Dad ended up down here near the end. What's she got? Something's moving around in there. Come on, stay out of there. Nope, there she goes. Dakota, come on. Alrighty. I can hear. She's back in there somewhere. Alrighty, I'll be back. This is a little area I think have given up on trying to plant. But they did have rape here. They have not planted any soybeans on it. I think they're just letting the grass grow up. There's that little tiny cosp of trees right there. Was where that woods was I was talking about a minute ago. There's a spring right there. But that woods used to go all the way down pretty much to the road over there. There also used to be a big tobacco barn over here. This is Western Kentucky, is the home to dart-fired tobacco, which is what all of your chewing tobacco and snuffs and dips and stuff are made out of. It's a shorter plant than burley, which is what is in your cigarettes and whatnot. They also use the dart-fired leaves, the premium ones, for making cigar wrappers. Very common in this area. Don't know what the harvest is going to be like this year, as almost everybody that works the fields here are Mexican and South and Central American. So we'll see how that goes. I was just thinking a minute ago as I was walking, it's like I don't understand why they've planted soybeans unless they just really want the nitrogen because it's a legume, so it does add nitrogen to the soil as a cover crop, and not really caring if they profit from it, because the price of both soybeans and corn, thanks to the financial genius in chief's tariff policies, the price of corn and soybeans is as low as it's been in probably 20 years, if not longer, because China canceled all of their orders with America, and they're not going to renew them. So all these people that planted corn in the spring, like those big fields I showed at the beginning of this, they're screwed. Here's a hole, something. Hey, Dakota. She's back in that little bunch of, I don't even know what you'd call this brush, I guess, where the spring is. Dakota, come on. Come check out this hole. This is probably more interesting than anything you're finding back in there. Yeah, I could see just planting soybeans for that. We used to plant soybeans we would actually use the plants, the entire plants for cattle feed. I think it's mostly just the seed that's used here, but the price is just, there is no price. I mean, just dollars on the bushel, which is not good. Hey, Dakota, come. She's still busy back there. There's some Queen Anne's lace going on the edge. And I'm gonna stop this, and I'll come back one more time. It's before we get back to the house. It's gonna be a very short one today. There's also a spring up here, which has been flowing pretty recently. I'm sure that she is quite thirsty after this. Dogs don't sweat, but they still have to use evaporative cooling with their tongue. And with it as humid as it is, that's probably not going great. I have a nice layer of sweat going on. So I'm headed back to the folks' house. It is behind that line of trees over there. I don't even know if I can see it poking through yet. It might actually still be behind the woods there. But I wonder if there's another spring right here. There may be. Because of the geographic features of this area, well, she's still drinking water down there. The springs don't flow all the time. I think the water table's not super deep, but it's down under here, so it has to rise up to here. There's only one spring I know of in the area. It's actually a little cluster of them in one place on that ridge I was talking about earlier that's so tall. It's the only place I really know of one where it's always got water coming out of it. The rest of them do like this, where it runs after it rains and then it quits. But yeah, you can see where they haven't planted, because it just ends up drowning their crops. Soybeans look like they're doing pretty good down through here. Yeah, there's a lot of this is the canola or rape. It looks a lot like mustard. The greens do, but then it has this cluster of like bean things that are up on top of it. And no, the folks' tree line here has gotten tall enough that you can't see shit. I think you can kind of see some sparkles of the cars and stuff back through the trees over there. And Dakota enjoys it out here. She's not allowed in the house though, so she's not happy about that. But too bad, girl. You can run around all you want. Found out that the dome light on my car, if you take the key out and leave a door open, it'll eventually go off on its own. So I don't have to, I can leave the door open for her on the car, not worry about running down the battery. And she spends most of her time in the car. I guess it's her den while she's here. She does spend some time on the porch, but she usually goes in and lays down in my seat and goes to sleep in the driver's seat. She's most of the time when we're driving, she's in the back, though. She did spend a lot of time in the passenger seat on the way down here. She's heavy enough. I have to do the seat belt so that the warning siren stops going off. She likes to sit there and look out the front window, which is fine. I don't have any passengers with me. Boy, it is humid. So, I'm going to call this a video. And thanks for coming on a little short walk with me in the oppressive West Kentucky humidity. Oh, another thing, there's just hardly a breeze. There's maybe 2 or 3 mile an hour light breeze going on, which I tell you what, in August, it doesn't help. When it's this kind of, yesterday it was 92 degrees, I think, down here with a 108 degree heat index. And it gets way hotter here later on in the summer. I can remember the thermometer temperature being 105 with like 70% humidity and not a bit of air movement. That's just like standing in front of a blast furnace. Really pretty awful. Okay, thanks for coming on a walk with me. And we're almost back to the house, girl. That's my folks' house. My brother's camper out in the back. Yeah, thanks for coming on a walk with me. And I will talk to you next time.